Hello, hi, welcome. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Sarah and this is Wicked Reading. So I thought it was about time that I do the newbie booktube tag since I am in fact a booktube newbie. I have put out a couple of videos just to get my feet wet and see if it was something that I would find joy out of, and so far I've had so much fun and I've already learned so much and I feel like I'm already getting better every day, getting more comfortable. So I thought it was about time I should probably do this tag to formally introduce myself and see if I can find some people that would be interested in going on this booktube journey with me. So I pulled up, I'm going to be looking down because I have my laptop in front of me so I can read these questions. But I found the Booktube Newbie Tag questions, and it sounds like it was originally created by Brenda C. in 2014, which is pretty crazy that it's still being so recently used. But her video is now unlisted, and it wouldn't take me to her YouTube channel. But shout out Brenda C. for making this. So we had 10 questions we're going to go through. So starting with number 1, why did you start this channel? I'm sure my answer for this is probably very similar to a lot of other people's, but I love reading. Books are so incredibly personal, and to find somebody who had the same experience, whether it be good or bad, is just such a unique opportunity to create connections with people, and I absolutely love that. For me personally, I really don't have anybody in my personal life that, one, reads as much as I do, and 2, reads the types of books that I read to begin with. My fiance listens to me talk about books, but he's supportive, but he doesn't, it's not the same as talking to a book lover and discussing books together. So really for me, this channel is an opportunity for me to just also be able to express my feelings and discuss books, whether it be to an audience or just to myself, to be able to look at these videos in the future and see how I've grown and how my book journey may have developed. If I find people who have similar tastes to me and want to also discuss books with me, that is an absolute bonus. So question number 2, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? So honestly, I'm not going to be making any groundbreaking content, or my editing skills are so novice. So in terms of like videos and content, it's not going to be anything groundbreaking, but I think every booktuber brings their own unique taste in books. Like I said before, books are so personal, and so many people have different mixes of the books that they like. So everybody brings their own unique tastes and opinions. So I'm just bringing my personal mix of books. As far as like the types of videos I'm going to do, I pretty much am just going to do videos that bring me joy. So it's videos I like watching, whether that be monthly wrap-ups, hauls, unhauls. I really like reading vlogs. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not going to be making anything super different than what everybody else is doing. But again, we all have our own personal tastes and mixes and opinions of books. So what are you most excited for about this new channel? So kind of plays off my other answers, but really just having an outlet and potentially being able to connect with other book lovers and other people. I just want to create a space like everybody else does where everybody can connect and discuss books, just share our love of books and everything bookish. Question number 4, why do you love reading? It never fails to amaze me how much books can have such an emotional and at times even visceral reaction from me. It's amazing. It's just amazing to me that reading words printed on a page can just create such a different atmosphere for your mind to be in. I mean, really, after a long, rough day, who doesn't come home and try to just relax and unwind? For me, it's books. For other people, it's video games. For other people, it's music. Everybody has something different, and for me, it's just books. Okay, so question number 5, what book or series got you into reading? So I actually had to sit and think about this for a while, but as soon as I came up with my answer, like so many memories came flooding back. I had always read when I was little, like very little. We're talking like Magic Tree House, that kind of stuff. And I feel like for a while I just kind of read to read. I didn't really appreciate stories the way I do now. I did have really bad reading habits when I was younger, like middle school. I would sit down and read for like hours and get like halfway through a book and then set it down and never pick it up again. I would only ever read if I knew that I had hours. I'm not like that anymore. I will literally pick up a book and read if I know I only have like 10 minutes to read. And I do actually remember there were a lot of times where I actually pretended to read books because everybody else was reading them. I did that with Harry Potter. I legitimately read the first few, but then after that I was way too intimidated by the sizes that they were becoming. But everybody else around me happened to be reading them at that time, so I was like pretending to read them too. And I did that with the Twilight series too. I read the first one legitimately, but then I actually didn't really like it that much, and so I just pretended to read the rest. So I read a lot when I was younger, but I didn't really appreciate it, and I really didn't commit the way I do now. So all that to say that the first series that I like legitimately completed, read, and had, like, I don't remember really the full storyline, but I remember the way it made me feel, and I legitimately cried when I finished the last book, just because I was sad that the story was done and that I wasn't going to be in this world anymore. And I have my original set. I had to get them from my mom's house. That series is the Fallen series by Lauren Kate. I was totally obsessed with these books, and I'm still obsessed with these covers. Like, they're still beautiful to me. So, and like I said, I don't really remember what these are about anymore. I know it has to do with like fallen angels. I guess it's kind of like a fantasy romance maybe. But I was just totally enthralled with this series, and it was the first series I had ever completed and just fully had such a connection to. Half of me wants to reread this series so bad, but the other half of me knows that it probably isn't really that good, and I almost want to just hold on to the nostalgic feeling and hold on to the feeling that I had when I did read them originally. But that was by far the series that really got me. I'm trying to remember what age I was when I read this series. I feel like I was in maybe 8th grade. This was by far, I was totally obsessed with this series. Moving on to question number 6. What question would you ask your favorite booktubers? And I like kind of contemplated this for a while, but I think what I would really ask would be, what is something you wish you knew before or early on into setting up your booktube channel? And then question number 7, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? So for me personally, it's going to be like thoroughly giving my opinion concisely and just really packing what I'm trying to say concisely, which is like the least concise way to answer that question, huh? So I have a hard time because sometimes there's so much I want to say, and I have to remind myself to do no spoilers. And then I also struggle with repeating myself a lot. I tend to repeat myself because I don't feel like I said it good the first time. So then I'll just say it again, and then I think I should probably say it one more time to get my point across. I don't know why. I don't know why. So that is 100% one of the things that's going to be toughest for me, is to edit myself down. Then also at the same time, I still kind of struggle with, you know, saying something and giving my opinion and then thinking, well, they don't care. People don't care. So then I will edit out and erase a lot of the stuff like I originally said into my final cut of a video. And I have to kind of remind myself that at the end of the day, I am doing this first and foremost to get joy out of it. And if that's what I'm getting joy out of it for, that's what I should do. I'm never gonna make everybody happy, which is like so true, and especially true when it comes to something as personal as books. Another thing that I've noticed is I will continue to reflect on our book like weeks after I've read it. So I'll put out like my opinion or a review or a rating on a book, and then a week later I'm still thinking about that book and I'm thinking about more things that I want to say about it. So that's going to be a struggle for me because my opinions don't necessarily change a lot, but there's a lot of stuff I think about retrospectively that either I would want to say that I really liked about a book or would want to note that it lacked. So that's going to be something I'm just going to have to kind of get over and just try to sit and really, really collect all my thoughts before I sit down to film. I'm already learning that while I don't want to like completely script videos, you definitely need to be prepared for them. My first wrap up is, first of all, it took me so long to film and it took me so long to edit because it was just a lot of ums and ahs, and I still struggle with that. So trust me, I'm working on that one too. But I didn't know what I wanted to say before I went in. I just knew that I wanted to start talking about it. So that's kind of what I did, which just led to a lot of extra work I had to do after the fact and a lot of unpolished video. I'm definitely working and growing with that every single day. So question number 8, when did you start reading? So I already kind of answered this, but I did start reading when I was pretty young. And I went through a lot of spurts where I would be really into reading and then I wouldn't pick up a book for a while, and then I'd be really into reading again, wouldn't pick up a book for a while, etc., etc. Now, in terms of my adult reading life, this is actually my first year, as in back in March. I was able to 100% dive back into reading for fun and reading for pleasure. So I'm very still new in my adult reading journey. I was in college for 4 years for my bachelor degree, and then I went directly into my master's program for 2 years. So for 6 years, I had to really just focus on my studying, and I really didn't have time nor motivation to read for pleasure on top of that, because to me, it wasn't going to be pleasurable because my head was always in a book for other reasons to begin with. And then even after I graduated, I needed to take my board exam, so then I was kind of studying for 6 months after I graduated anyways. So back in March, I took my boards and I passed. So I was officially free of studying all the time. So it's been since March that I have been able to fully dive back into the reading that I loved when I was back in high school and middle school. Question number 9, where do you read? So mostly I just read at home. I love snuggling up on the couch or a comfy chair with a fuzzy blanket and some coffee or tea. I always really read to ambiance. I can't do dead silence, so I always have to have ambiance on. So for me, I do that a lot at home. Sometimes I'll read at work, like during lunch breaks and everything, put my headphones in and read for a little bit there. But otherwise, I'm pretty much just a home reader. Sometimes I'll read in a bookstore. Most of the time, I don't last long because I get so distracted. I'm a very big people watcher, so I'll like read for like a paragraph and then I'm like looking around and seeing what everybody else is doing, and then go back and do the same thing over and over again. So I used to read a lot more in coffee shops, but now I'm definitely way more of a home reader. I do also have to drive an hour to work, so I have a long commute. I drive 2 hours every day at least. So I have recently gotten really into audiobooks, so I try to always have an audiobook on too. So the final question, which in my opinion is kind of like one of the most important questions of this, which will probably determine if you stay with me or not, which is, what kinds of books do you like to read? Most recently, I have been super into fantasy or fantasy romance, but I also really love horror, which is really the genre that got me back into reading in my adult life. I also really like gothic themes. And this one's kind of like really niche, but anything where death is personified, I'm immediately buying. I'm very drawn to books that take on like mortality and stuff like that. I really enjoy gray characters. Recently, I've done a lot of memoirs, which I tend to do an audiobook version because I love hearing people tell their own stories. I also really like literary fiction with like feminist undertones. Anything that has to do with, race, gender, class inequalities, and it's kind of like the undertone of a story. I do really like that. I tend to be more drawn to character-driven stories. I have more recently enjoyed some historical fiction as well as Greek retellings. I don't do those too often, but the few that I have done, I have really enjoyed. And I just recently finished a historical fiction that I did really like. And with my historical fiction, it tends to be kind of either like plague, witch, those kinds of leanings. And I have recently gotten into manga as well, so there's that. So I really do like a very kind of what I consider to be a wide range of genres, and I'm still trying to find my exact niche even in those genres, and I'm sure that there's others that I haven't explored yet that I will like. So again, that's part of my reason of making this booktube, is to share that journey and potentially connect with other people along that journey, and even for myself document this journey as I really figure out who I am as a reader and what I really like the most. So that is all the questions for the newbie booktube tag. Thank you so much if you made it all the way to the end and you watched all the way to this point. Leave me a book emoji so I know. Please do consider subscribing if it sounds like somewhere you might want to hang out. If it sounds like we might have similar book tastes. I would love to have you guys. And again, thank you so much for watching. Bye!